Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, Tootsie's leading the charge today. We did some extra walking because it's a good day for that. The sun is shining. It's still 30 degrees. Yeah. No, I have to show you. She has decided we are not going anywhere near home. Every time I turn in the direction of home, she has something to say about it. She's refusing to go this way. I'm pulling her. So, because of Thanksgiving, I have very limited content for you guys. So we're going to be talking a little bit about crime and a lot about crafting. Stay tuned. This morning, not much going on in the crime world, so we're going to do that up front, and then I'm going to talk a little bit or a lot about crafting. Woohoo, my favorite subject. There's an ambulance going by or a police officer, so while that's going by, I'm going to have some of my coffee. So I go by the name Crafting Journey. My name is Rebecca. I am also known as That Journey Chick over on Instagram and on my second YouTube channel, which is my reselling channel. The link to that is down in the description. I am known as The Leftovers, and I put up a video over there yesterday. So go over there, check that out, subscribe. I'm trying to get that channel launched. So this morning I am working on the lighthouse. I've got everything cleared off here. Let me show you where I'm at with that, and then we will get into what's going on in the criminal world. Crime. Okay. This is a Dreamer Design canvas, and I just love it. Who is the artist? Alan Gianna. And it's a little bit of fantasy, not much, but like the little gumdrops leading up to the house, the cottage. So that's what I'm working on. So I've got the sky left up here. Yep, and I got to finish up the top of this tree right there, and then I'll get into the sky over there. Look at the sailboat out on the water. So pretty. I just love this. In fact, this gives me the opportunity. No, I'll finish up over here, and then I'll turn it around. Okay. Let me put the light pad back on. All right. We're going to talk about, because there's nothing else going on in the crime world. It's Thanksgiving week, so I'm digging, folks. But some interesting news about Kathryn Magbanua. Now, if you've been following my channel for the last 2 years, you will have seen the 2 trials that I covered for Kathryn Magbanua. The first trial, she went up for first-degree murder. She received a hung jury, so a mistrial. Then on her second trial, and this is 6 years after the murder, which happened in 2014. I'm going to tell you what happened, but let me just tell you. In the second trial, she was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now, she sat in jail for 6.5 years, and there is a reason for that. I will tell you what that is in a minute. This all centers around the case, the death of Dan Markel. He died on July 14th, I think it was. No, July 19th of 2014. Dan Markel was an FSU law professor, and interestingly enough, his specialty was, he wrote books, he was a speaker, he was Canadian born, but was a professor at FSU. But his specialty was criminal law and sentencing. How ironic is that? So he marries Wendy Adelson. Years before this, they marry, they have 2 children. Now, Wendy is from South Florida. That's where all her family is. Wendy's father is a dentist. He owns a large dental practice. Charlie, her brother, is a periodontist. She also has another brother who is totally out of the picture. He's like, I'm opting out of this family. He lives in a different location with his wife. Apparently, family didn't like his wife. This is a very close-knit family. Family didn't like his wife, and he said, I'm going my own way. I'm marrying her. Bye. and he has nothing to do with his family. So we've got Charlie, Wendy, Mom, Dad, and that will come into play. So Wendy and Dan, they have these two young boys, cute little boys, and they divorce. Things are getting contentious. He goes on a business trip. When he comes home, he finds everything in his house is gone except for like the bed in the master bedroom. And on the bed are divorce papers. And his kids are gone. Everything's gone. So it takes him a couple weeks, but he figures out where they are, and the battle begins. She's a lawyer as well, also working at FSU. She did immigration law, I believe. Anyway, back and forth with the motions, back and forth, back and forth. She wanted to take those two boys and move back to South Florida, where her family is, and he put in an injunction to stop her. The judge granted it, said, no, you can't do this. So they had a marital settlement agreement, and she had to stay in Tallahassee, which she did not like. Her family didn't like it, and here's what happened. So on July 19th, he's got custody of the boys for that day. They shared custody. So he's got them that day. He gets up, gives them breakfast, takes them to daycare, and then he goes to the gym. Now, all this is on video. Well, the gym part. You see him getting out of his vehicle, going into the gym, coming out. But you also see, later on, this will come into a play, there's a car following him in that parking lot of the gym. Comes out of the gym, car follows him home. And we know this because there's video footage pulled from all over Tallahassee, buses and, traffic areas, where you have cameras. So he pulls into his driveway. This is about 11 o'clock-ish in the morning. And the car pulls in behind him. Two men get out. Luis Rivera, Sigfredo Garcia. They get out. Luis Rivera walks over to the driver's side, pulls the trigger. Just that's all. It was like an execution. Doesn't say anything. Just, poof, you're dead. Well, he didn't die right away. His neighbor, who saw this whole thing go down, rushes over there, because right away Luis and Sigfredo get back in their car, they leave, and head back to South Florida. So the neighbor has a fairly good description of this vehicle. It was a Prius, a gray Prius or silver Prius. So he calls 911. The rescue comes, they take him to the hospital, and he passes away. They bring in Wendy for questioning because, she's the ex-wife, and they're like, where were you the morning of these murders? And she's like, well, I was home waiting for my TV to be repaired. Now, she tells the story that this is a television that her brother, Charlie, the periodontist, bought her as a divorce gift and said it was cheaper than hiring a hitman. Here you go. But this TV was broken. I should be done my painting while I'm telling you this. So the police, and this takes years to figure out this puzzle. It was a huge puzzle. Who were these men? Where were, so they eventually figure out through video surveillance of the gym, the car, that followed him. They get the license plate. They don't actually get the license plate, but they manage to figure out that the vehicle went back to South Florida, and they pulled the turnpike records for all the Priuses that went through the turnpike, which there was lots. And then they figured out, Alligator Alley, which is connects the east and west side of South Florida. They took that to get back over to, to South Florida, the east South Florida, where they were from. And eventually they figure out who this is. And they're arrested. Luis Rivera, Sigfredo Garcia. Now, Luis Rivera, the gunman, the triggerman, he singing like a bird. Hey, I'm going to, So in exchange for a lighter sentence, he testifies against Sigfredo and Kathryn Magbanua. Now, you're like, who's Kathryn Magbanua? I'll get to that. So Sigfredo Garcia, girlfriend, baby mama, everybody said, oh, they're married. They weren't married, but had a couple kids together, on again, off again, on again, off again. Well, she, while they were off, was dating Charlie Adelson, the periodontist, Wendy's brother, and supposedly worked for him, although nobody at the dental practice could say that she had ever worked there. They didn't know who she was, but she was on the payroll. She was getting a check. Mama Adelson, Charlie and Wendy's mother, was giving her a paycheck. So Lewis tells the story that Sigfredo and he were hired by Kathryn Magbanua to kill Dan Markel. And they went up there twice. They went up once, scoped it all out, came back, went up the second time, and the murders were committed. So he's throwing Kathryn under the bus, and he's throwing Sigfredo Garcia under the bus. So the first trial I covered, and I'll put a link to that, was, or is it here? One of these places. Kathryn and Sigfredo go on trial. Sigfredo is found guilty of first-degree murder. Kathryn, the jury was hung. They could not decide whether she had orchestrated this thing or not. So she goes on for a retrial, and by this time there is a restaurant video that they had to enhance, and it took them years to do it. They enhanced this video where where Kathryn is going out to dinner with Charlie, and they're talking about the murders in code. And it's very difficult to hear this. So it took months and months and months for this to get enhanced between the first trial and the second trial. So it gets enhanced, comes into the trial, and it's very incriminating, to say the least. And she is convicted. But 1 week before her trial started, her second trial started, Charlie Adelson is arrested for the murders of Dan Markel, for hiring Kathryn Magbanua, Sigfredo Garcia, and Luis Rivera. Paid him $100,000, was split amongst the three of them to commit these murders. Now, the reason why Kathryn Magbanua sat in jail for 6.5 years is because the prosecution was trying to get her to turn over the Adelson family. Listen, give it up. You know, you want to see your kids again? Or do you want life in prison without the possibility of parole? She would not talk. She would not say a word to the prosecution. So she goes on trial. She's convicted, life without possibility of parole. And we are waiting for the trial of Charlie Adelson, which should happen next year. But here's the thing. Here's what's new. Apparently, Kathryn has changed her mind. She's going to sing now. She wants to see her kids. Because she's up in, a prison where the kids she probably doesn't see much of those kids at all. Interestingly enough, she's being transported to Tallahassee to speak with the prosecution. Now, we don't know what she's going to say or the value of what she's going to say, but if the prosecution feels like whatever she's going to tell them is valuable and will assist them in the prosecution of Charlie Adelson, they may offer her a reduced sentence. It is possible that the prosecution can go back to the judge and get her a lighter sentence, something without, maybe something with parole, or, who knows. So I'm anxious to see what she has to say, finally, after all these years. Now, everybody believes that Wendy's also involved, as well as her parents, but to date, they have never been charged. But I think Charlie probably was the mastermind of this whole thing. I really do. Everyone said it was Kathryn, but what motive did Kathryn have? She didn't even know Dan Markel. Never met him. Anyway, that is what's going on in Crafting a Crime. So she will be singing to the prosecution. So it'll be interesting to see if she testifies at Charlie's trial. That's going to be such a good trial. It really is. And he is sitting in prison, no bond, because the judge said, there is no doubt in my mind you would flee. You would flee. No, you are flight risk. You're not, no. So Charlie Adelson has been in jail since that trial happened earlier this year. If I find the link to the coverage of that trial, I may have put them all in the same playlist. Yeah, so check those out. So that's what's going on. So let's talk about crofting. So I am working on the lighthouse here. Oh, the light pen, no, it's just very light. Okay, let me put this down, and then here's what, I was working on this hat here, and I finished it, but I think it's too small. Here, I'll put it on. I think it's too small. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is, now, oh, it feels so good. It feels so warm. Okay. I'm going to come back in on the bottom, and I still have a yarn left. I'm going to do a band of single crochets to add some length to the hat. Then last night I made my sister a hat in an hour. This is a bag-o-day pattern. You start at the bottom. I only changed one thing on the chain in the first row. When you go back into the chain and do single crochets, I did them in the third loop. Instead of, there's a front loop, back loop, and then there's a third loop. I did them in the third loop because I think it looks neater. Now, I think this one as well could have used probably another couple of rows, but I ran out of yarn. There was only 110 yards in this. It's a hand-dyed yarn that I picked up at Hobby Lobby on clearance for like, I don't know, $1, something really cheap. So, but it's beautiful. I mean, look at it's just got so many colors, like especially pink. Lots of pink. I love pink. Anyway, but my sister likes purples, and so she really liked this. And she likes the size of it, so we're going to go with that. Then I thought I picked this out. I went through my stash, and this is from Lion Brand. I picked this up from Lion Brand. And it's just got these gorgeous, like a blue-green, almost a teal and a brown and some grays. It's a 4-weight. The other one I did was a 5-weight. I think this is a 4-weight too. So I want to do this hat again in this yarn. It only took me like an hour to do that hat last night. It took me longer to wind the yarn, I think, than it did to make the hat. I'm exaggerating, but you get the picture. I was gaming last night. When I came in this morning, this whole desk was like a disaster. So I wanted to show you before the next painting, the one I'm doing in January, the one I talked about yesterday. I happen to have it right here. So I am going to be doing a separate video of kitting this up. I kind of want to do like a how-to kit up a video. So this is a Dragon's Door. It is by Rand Phelan, who does these gorgeous dragons. Really gorgeous, gorgeous. So it's big. It's really big. It's very ambitious, but actually, I'm just going to roll it the opposite direction, just so it'll lay flat. All right, there we go. Here it is. I'm going to turn the light pad off. Hold on. Okay. Now, isn't that gorgeous? So I want to kit this up, and then I'm going to try to figure out what special drills that I need. But I'm going to do this in a separate video today. But is this not stunning? Stunning. I think this one I'm going to hang in the craft room. I may take some of the Alice stuff down and put this one over there. just so I have something gorgeous to look like. So this will be my first painting of the year 2023, the year of the fantasy. The year, I started to say the year of the dragon because I love dragon fantasy paintings. So this, I'm going to kit up in a video separate from this one. It is 43 colors, and it comes with 2 Aurora Borealis drills, or is it 3? 3. One is a red, so that's in here. One is this orange down here, and another one is white, which is kind of dotted in all over the painting with little dots. So I have to figure out, like, I want to use some metallics in this thing. What I'm planning to do is I want to get together with Alyssa, who's the owner of Diamond Painting Drills, where I am an affiliate. The link to that store is down in the description. If you follow that link and you make a purchase, I do make a small commission. But I'm going to get with her when she has some time and get her thoughts on where I should put bling in this painting. And then I will purchase the drills. There we go. Oh, where's the box? Come back here, box. Alrighty. So, with Thanksgiving, everything's very slow. So I'm trying to do some more crafting and just kind of enjoy life, just enjoying myself. Being fun employed. I'm loving it. The store is doing fantastic. I'm not making a living at it yet, but I do make regular sales, which is nice. So I have like trickling of money coming into my account. Yeah, I like it. I do like it. I think I made the right decision. I really do. So thank you guys for watching this morning. I hope, if you have any questions about the whole Kathryn Magbanua thing, let me know, because you need like a chart or a roadmap of that whole story to understand it. And I will go much more in depth when that trial occurs next year. The trial will be of Charlie Adelson for first-degree murder of Dan Markel. So stay tuned for that next year. The other video I want to do is like everything we're expecting next year. There's going to be Daybell case, both people, Chad and Lori Vallow. There's Charlie Adelson. There's so much going on next year that it's going to be a fun year on Crafting and Crime Daily. So guys, have a wonderful Tuesday, and I will see you tomorrow in Crafting and Crime Daily. I'm going to try to get you a true crime story for tomorrow. How about that? That's always fun. So take care, everybody. Bye.